Do you ever feel the sting of criticism? You know, when someone cuts you down with some kind of disapproving comment or look, or maybe they criticise your performance, something that you've done, or maybe you as a person. You know, it can really hurt. It can cut you to the bone. So in this video, I'd like to talk about how to deal with criticism using NLP, that's Neuro-Linguistic Programming. Hi, I'm Stephen Burns from MINDSCHOOL, and in this video I want to talk about how to deal with criticism using NLP. And in particular, I want to just give you an alternative way to define criticism inside your mind that can be much more useful. And this is something in NLP called reframing, because the way that we describe and define things inside our mind through language has a huge influence on the way that we think about that very thing. And if you change the way that you define and describe something inside your mind, it changes the way that you think about it, the way that you feel about it, and also the way that you relate to it. So just before we kick off, just to let you know, this is going to be the first video on a series on how to deal with criticism using NLP. So if you want to keep an eye on the channel for those videos as they drop, I'll also include them in the links in the description below as they get uploaded. Also, if you could like, subscribe and ring the bell, that would be absolutely amazing. So let's get started. So first of all, let's take a look at what we actually mean by criticism. What is it in the first place? Well, I think it's important to point out that criticism is not really a thing. It's not like some kind of physical entity. You couldn't go down to the shops and buy a lump of criticism. I don't know why you would want to do that. But criticism is just a concept. It's just a label that we use to describe the act of criticising. And if we look at the dictionary definition of criticism, it's where we highlight the faults in something or someone in a disapproving way. Now, I don't know about you, but that definition is somewhat bleak. It kind of implies that whenever we are criticised, it means that we are always being attacked. And I know that that is definitely true some of the time for some people, but the vast majority of the time, that's really just looking at criticism from a very surface level perspective. That when we go beneath the surface, there's a lot more to unpack, there's a lot more to it. So I want to offer a slightly different definition, and the definition is this one here. And that is that criticism is poorly constructed and an often badly presented attempt at feedback. And the more that we look beneath the surface, the more that we can see just how much truer that definition, that description is. That when you look at the people who genuinely criticise you, now I'm not talking about internet trolls that are out there just spreading hate. Really, when you get down to it, there's a simple solution for those people, and that is just ignore them. Don't give them any energy, or just even step into their shoes and imagine how messed up they must be to, spread that kind of hate. But I'm talking about people who are genuinely taking the time to craft some kind of criticism aimed at you. Those types of people, and this might seem a little bit difficult to appreciate at first, but those types of people actually do care. Now, they might not care about you personally, but they do care about the subject that they're commenting on. The fact that they've taken the time to create this, big, long, crafted message to criticise you or whatever it is that you're doing presupposes that they do actually care about the subject, about whatever it is they're commenting on. It also implies that they would like something to change. They're actually looking to influence some kind of positive change. Now, on the surface, I know it seems very destructive. It seems like they're just out there to attack you. But really, you want to look beneath the surface, and that's one of the keys to really being at peace with the emotional sides of criticism. Beneath the surface, they're actually looking to create some kind of positive change. There is some sort of positive function behind that behaviour. So in NLP, this is something that we often refer to as the positive intention. And this is the idea that behind every seemingly destructive behaviour, there is actually some sort of positive intention. It's trying to get something useful, something worthwhile, something good. As human beings, we are functional creatures. We might engage in, destructive behaviours on the outside, but actually, behind the surface, there is some sort of positive energy attempting to get something good. So just to give you a couple of examples of this positive intention idea, easy for me to say, because it is sometimes a difficult concept for people to get their head round. If we take, for example, something like comfort eating. Now, this is not necessarily about criticism, this is a therapeutic example, but it'll just help you get an understanding of this idea. With comfort eating, people aren't really eating to put on weight. You know, maybe they've had a bad day and they've come back and they're like, oh my God, you know, it's like so stressful. And then they just veg out on the couch and just basically just stuff their face full of ice cream or crisps or chocolate or wine and beer or whatever. And, you know, they just engage in this seemingly destructive behaviour. But if you look beneath the surface, it is attempting to get something good, to preserve something that is actually performs some sort of positive function. Now, I don't know if you can guess what that might be. The clue is, of course, in the name. It is, of course, comfort. Generally, when people comfort eat, it just gives them that lovely feeling of comfort, of safety, of security, of relaxation, because they've had a hard day, they're feeling bad about themselves, they're feeling stressed out, and so on and so forth. So it is a destructive behaviour on the outside, but behind the surface, the drive, it's trying to get something good, and that is, of course, comfort. Another quick example, smoking. People don't smoke to give themselves gangrene or cancer or the various different other horrendous diseases that smoking can cause. Usually they're doing it to just chill out, or originally they were doing it to get social acceptance when they were a teenager, or maybe they're just doing it just to create a bit of excitement or something to do in their life. Obviously there's a physical addiction too, but the psychological side of it is it's attempting to get something positive. So these are, of course, therapeutic examples, but it's the same when it comes to criticism. It seems like they're trying to attack you, but actually they're attempting to give you feedback in order to create something good. It's an expression of their caring. It's an attempt to create some sort of positive change in whatever it is you're talking about. So that's the general idea, and the key to really being at peace with the emotional side of criticism is to actually shift your focus onto that positive intention and just have a think, okay, what is it that they're attempting to get that's positive? So I want to just leave you with a quick exercise that can help you do this. So what I want you to do is, if you think about the last time that you were criticised, so some time that really, really stung when someone wrote something to you or said something to you or gave you that disapproving glance or whatever it is. And then what I'd like you to do is, I'd like you just to very briefly step into the person who was criticising you's shoes. Just very, very briefly. See it from their perspective. And then just have a think. What is it I'm attempting to get here that's actually positive? And just spend some time considering that perspective. And you want to ask the question a few times, just reflect on it, and eventually you start to get a sense of what that positive intention behind the criticism was. And when you do, when you connect with it, that is usually when you get this amazing release. Because all of a sudden you realise that you weren't necessarily being attacked. It really, at the end of the day, was just a poorly constructed and badly presented attempt at feedback. So hopefully you found this useful. Like I said, this is going to be the first video of a series on how to deal with criticism using NLP. So keep an eye out for those videos as they drop on the channel. And once again, if you could like, subscribe and ring the bell, that would be absolutely amazing, just so that you can keep up to date with all future MINDSCHOOL uploads. So that's all from me for this video. Give that little technique a go, and I'll see you later on.